Okay, so we're gonna do one more thing with some shapes where we kind of build other shapes on top of that. So, and then I'm gonna kind of show how if you angle the circles inside your shapes, you can kind of change the way they look. So I'm gonna kind of make a, I guess kind of like a hot dog looking curve type thing. And then down here, I'm going to kind of put another shape under it. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm gonna go through, put all my little circles inside that shape, inside that shape, then down here. And I mean, you can make these shapes without all the circles and all of that, because when you're done with them, you can kind of see what happened. But this is just a good way to visually see why things happen. So now I'm going to take my B2 pencil, 2B, whatever, and I'm going to outline it. And now I'm going to go through and put in my circles. And I'm going to switch it, I think, halfway. So now I have that. So now I'm just going to kind of take these lines right here and I'm just going to kind of continue them in with some of these. So now I kind of have this shape right here, and now I'm going to kind of make another little circle, not circle, but another shape right here in the middle. And I'm going to erase these insides. And now I kind of have a hole or void in there. So now I'm just going to kind of put kind of some little lumps in here. And so now that's going to demonstrate that the inside of this, depending on the way you shade it, it can be sticking up or it can be poking down in. So that's just kind of a way that you can visually see that this is kind of like a soft chunk of clay with kind of rounded edges, and then it has an inside. So we're just doing it this way just so we can kind of see. So now I'm going to do kind of like a donut. And I'm going to do, I want my donut to be pretty round. So I'm going to make my circles really circular and not oval. Now I'm going to go through. Let's actually do the outside of it first. My lines are much better when I can turn the paper. But you get the idea. At some point I'm just going to kind of switch these just so you can kind of see it coming to the front. So now on my donut, and I'm going to put this line right here. So that's going to show kind of where my core shadow is going to be. And now I have my donut, and then back here, that's kind of where the core shadow would be back there. So now I have my little donut shape, and these just indicate where the core shadows be. I guess I could go back on here, kind of put in the same cross lines like that. Okay, so now let's do this shape. I'm gonna kind of do I guess kind of like a pie shape. And I'm going to put a box down here. So it's kind of like a piece of pie, I guess, but I want it to be a little more organic. So now we're going to do this pie in a couple of different ways. So you can kind of see how you can make the top of the pie shape flat, more flat, or make it puffier. So I'm going to make it kind of flat. So I'm going to do my circles, my ellipses. These are actually ellipses. I'm going to go this way. And then down here, I'm just going to go kind of straight up and down. These are also ellipses. Then I'm going to outline it. Okay, now let's go through and make the little shapes going this way. And then down here, I'm just going to kind of follow in the same shapes. So now we have our pie, and I'm going to put, I like to kind of put where I'm going to have the center be. So that would kind of be the center, and then down here will kind of be, and I like to think of these as where I'm going to put the core shadows. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to put the cross lines in. And then I want this to be flat, so I'm not going to put anything there. So I'm going to have it cut off, and it's going to be kind of like a little chunk. Okay, so let's kind of do the same thing over here, but we're going to do it a little differently. So I'm going to kind of start with same thing, a pie shape, and then a shape down here. But instead of my ovals slanting a lot like this, I'm going to kind of do them a little more up and down. So now my shapes right there are up and down. Well, I'm going to switch it up in this bottom. I'm going to put kind of wider circles down here in the bottom. So let's see what happens there. So I'm going to outline it. And I'm going to go through And I'm going to put those there. And then I'm going to kind of follow down. You could take them all. Let's see, that one has one back there. Okay, and so you can kind of see what starts to happen. It almost makes it just a steeper blob, and with those circles, it creates kind of an under part, whereas this didn't. So, and then the top part obviously is quite a bit steeper. So I'm gonna put my part up there. And so see how much higher this is? It's made them a lot steeper. And so then what's going to really make these interesting is when you start to do the shading. And I'm just kind of I want to do a little something different in here. I want there to be some kind of differentiation. So I'm just going to insinuate that there's some kind of canal or reservoir through here. So when I would go to render this with my pencil, maybe I would make it stick up a little or make it indented. That's kind of up to you. So bigger circles like this make for a lot more rounded bottom to where you can see it go underneath. This one makes the sides more straight up like a building. So you can kind of just see, just with playing with the different shapes of your circles in the middle, how things will go a little bit differently. Let's do, I'm kind of out of space. Let's do one more small one over here, I guess. Let's do, oh, I'm gonna make kind of a triangle. And then I'm gonna make, like, it looks like another chicken bone or something come off of there. I kind of want it in perspective. So I'm just gonna kind of do, I'm gonna make these circles because I want my triangle to really be pretty round. So I'm gonna trace my triangle. Let's do this too. Let's make some circles in here. So I'm going to trace my triangle. I hope the video doesn't cut off. It's still got some. So I'm going to trace that. And now I'm going to trace the lines on my triangle. Okay, now I'm going to trace these little lines on here. I'm going to outline this. So now I have two shapes kind of added together. So now I have that. Kind of put in some of these. Same with this one. Let's put in some of those side ones. If you kind of need one down the middle, you can kind of put one there to show that. And so now it's just going to depend on how we render this with our pencil when we do shading later, if we want this to be a hard edge or if we want it to blend in with the cone. And we'll talk about that more when we get to the shading. So once again, it's just kind of like that shape builder in Illustrator if you've ever done it, or just like I've done, kind of adding some different shapes. So that's the second set of shapes, and I think we're good.